What's going on, folks? Get this out of the way here. So, just as a bit of a OE, a little faith moment, my Russian Sturm MREs that I did order a few weeks ago did come in yesterday, and so y'all did see a brief little video on that. I'm not going to show everyone because I don't want to steal Steve 1989's thunder. I know that's his job and everything. Besides, I don't really feel like showing my face much anymore. So, I think in amongst his time, as you do, is that you think about different subjects. And for people like me, I'm just autistic and I think about politics because it's easier. And I think about where the left is failing. Now, there's a difference between the actual left-wing folks in real life versus the online left, which are usually just liberals of BreadTube, usually. So I'll start with the online left, and then I'll kind of work my way and kind of meander my way to get to what I see as real life the left. Even though I'm not officially part of the left, I can't really speak to much of the real life stuff. I'll just say it as a disclaimer. I'm sure that people say, well, this group is doing, mutual aid, and this, group is doing this and that. Fine. You can, that's why I say up front as a disclaimer, I don't know everything that the modern day left is doing in real life. So let's start with the online left. The online left is still stuck in 2017. I saw a video from one of these obscure anarchists that's kind of, I guess, vaguely part of BreadTube, but not, isn't really as influential, who did a video about cultural Marxism, talking about Horkheimer, Adorno, and Fromm. And for me, I think that is way beyond the time. I think that who cares, frankly? Why are you still making videos about stuff like this? Why did Trump win in 2016? Oh, we're going to find out why. Well, it's simple. It's simple. Because basically, he was saying, let's make America great. Let's do something again. What did the left have? They had Hillary Clinton. I'm talking about that on a large scale. Of course, they'll say, Hillary Clinton isn't left, she's right-wing. I get that. I get it. But how much analysis do you need of those types of things? The reality is that why aren't people focusing on today? Why aren't people in general, they're talking all about these general strikes, this and that. But unfortunately, these general strikes and all these other things, the YouTube walkout, all these things exist online. They don't manifest themselves in real life because you've alienated those people. Instead, it's like, let's dab on Carl Benjamin again. Let's go ahead, Sargon of Akkad. Let's dab on, Dave Rubin. Let's dab on, Ethan Ralph. Let's dab on all these folks. Ha ha! I'm going to dunk on them. Hoo-hoo, I'm so cool. What does that get you? It further insulates you. It further insulates you from average, everyday people. You also further alienate them from you when you, make some very, very low-key racist comments, especially, people who have given, put all their chips in for Bernie. And they say, oh, why did so many black people vote for Biden and not for, Trump, or not for Bernie? How dare they? Although, and of course, they were immediately trying to calm things down. It's not racist. No, it's not racist. No, it's not racist at all. It's just, we want them to do better, It's very, it's some very white supremacist type attitude, dare I say it. or at least it's more of a sense of we have to show people the right way. Black people don't know how to get along without the lefties. Only we can do that. Only we can show black people the true way. It's one of those things. I mean, and that's clear as day is that they are the true, is that to a point, they are more self-righteous on the left. And of course, like I say, I'm using the left very, very loosely. And of course, people will say, oh, well, Bernie Sanders isn't the left. And I'm just saying, there's a lot of people who call themselves lefties who will ultimately try to support Bernie Sanders, if for nothing else than lip service and just a chance for something better. Harm reduction, as the term has been used. Now, like I say, there's a lot of racist undertones there. And they say, oh, well, black folks should do this, black folks should do that. They should have voted for Bernie. How dare they? Only he can make your life better. And people don't like to be talked down to. They don't like to be talked down to. They don't like to be told what their options are and what you should choose. They don't like that. Who does? Who likes that? Nobody. Nobody likes that. So, you have that factor. This kind of touches into the fact of today where, you think about Antifa. And Antifa, of course, has shifted a lot of their ideas from attacking, the far right and everything else. But of course, the far right, in a lot of ways, doesn't really exist in real life. And I know, oh, what about Adamhoff and the base, Aryan Nation? And I would say this to you. Why is it that you bring up these folks and every other week it shows that these groups like the base were infiltrated by the feds already and they get taken down? Why is it that every time that they're on Discord and say some cringy shit, they get busted? Why is it we see that every other year they already have the logs of the chat logs of, these various servers where people are typing out their Wignat crap? Why is that? Why? So I don't really get this whole idea that, fascism is growing. I still don't believe it. Maybe it's not the fascism, I don't get it, to be honest with you. I really don't. We're headed more towards warlordism, in my view, which isn't necessarily fascism. We're headed more towards a sense of this group of states is going to create their own thing, and this group of states is going to create their own thing. I don't think anyone really gives a damn about some mystical fascism. It's like, to a point, you can say that the United States is already fascist. I mean, take that with a grain of salt, but nonetheless, we always hear this idea of Antifa, that they are somehow defending the LGBTQ community, POCs, and everything else. And they ignore the fact that, in reality, they're actually just LARPing. They want to make it seem like they're freedom fighters, when in reality, they're just clowns. By the way, the far right are clowns too. When we say that. Now, of course, people label me a centrist and, big-brained and everything else. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead. But you know what? I don't give a fuck. I made my choice. So, the thing is that, especially amongst, melanated people, against African Americans, against black people, is that in general, they have their own community self-defense. They don't need your crack ass to be doing that. They don't need your honky ass. They'll be like, man, I'm going to defend myself, bro. You think I need this cracker group to defend them? And that's one of the mistakes. Now, the real life left, in my view, it's like, in general, it's just mutual aid. And, of course, they separate themselves because they'll say it's reactionary and they'll say it's racist and everything else, or pork chop nationalism to support groups like the Nation of Islam, or with, the new Black Panthers, which, of course, are now more reactionary. They had people like Dr. Khalid Muhammad, formerly of the Nation of Islam, being part of their group. We have to think about these things. Modern day left doesn't talk to ordinary people because, of course, they are just disgusted with the ordinary people as Democrats or Republicans. They don't care about the ordinary people. They give lip service to it. They simply see themselves as another type of demigod. They say, we can make it better. We can stop all these things. It's not true. It's not true. They will have their own troubles. And they will use the same powers that they are against today. They will use police violence. They will use the military to go in and crush people. And they will become the tankies that they hate. It's that simple. Today's revolutionary, today's Maoist or anarchist is tomorrow's bureaucrat. It's absolutely true. If they succeed, that is. If not, then they just become more than likely they just become they join the system and maybe they become like a bureaucrat, or they become, deeper into the system, like a politician or maybe even insurance or something like that. They eventually grow up past that for the most part. People just eventually, the same type of thing with the hippies, with the hippie movement. A lot of those folks later shaved their faces. They left the communes and they put on a nice Armani suit and they say, now we're liberals. Now we're neoconservatives. We like Reagan, whatever the case may be. We've seen that. And we will see a form of it that will happen for the next generation. We've already seen it to a degree. I believe his name is D. Ray Davis. Let me see here. D. Ray McKesson. There we go. D. Ray McKesson. That's the name I was thinking of. D. Ray McKesson, was part of Black Lives Matter. And now suddenly, today, he's more involved with the everyday. He is not someone, voted for Bernie Sanders. He's appeared on the Late Late Show, the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. This is somebody who's part of the system now. These people can be co-opted. Now, of course, Bernie Sanders has been co-opted. People are mad because, I've said this before, but I'll repeat it here, just because I'm a boomer, and I'd rather just repeat myself. He's part of the same class as Joe Biden. I don't understand this defense of Bernie Sanders. It goes to show that these folks are stubborn and that they have really waved the white flag on the other things that they lark about, such as political violence. Now, overall, I would say I don't care for political violence, but the difference is I know what's going to happen. It's going to happen. It's that simple. It's going to happen again. Yeah. More far right will be blamed for plenty of things, sure. But if you think that the other side isn't going to do that, you're out of your damn mind. You're a damn fool. So, it's easy to put into perspective, isn't it? There's a lot of ranting and raving, and this didn't turn out as well as I thought it would, but oh well. But in general, the left, I don't think, can serve anyone except themselves. They have their own visions of what life is supposed to be. And of course, and they'll say, no, it's not utopian. No, it's not utopian, but it'll be better. They will use the same tactics. They will use the same effects that the modern system uses now. Once again, I hold the belief ultimately, I'm sure maybe it's utilitarianism or whatever the case may be, I don't know. But I hold the view that the game doesn't change, it's just the players. I don't care what you say about workers' councils. I don't care what you say about better elections. I don't care what you say about, ranked choice voting. I don't care. It makes no difference to me. Because ultimately, I just see it as that people are going to be people regardless. They have their own arrogances. They have their own beefs with people. They have their own internal struggles. And when I hear about all this type of fei hua, as the Chinese would say, the fei hua, that people constantly say about, well, if we did things this way, then, we have a history of leftism in the United States. And then you bring up the facts that, FDR was kicked out all the socialists. Well, that's not going to happen this time. And then, and we hear all this type of crap from anarchists, for example. Well, we know how to fight the tankies this time. How are you going to do that? It's a secret. You don't have an answer there. Shut up. That's their attitude. But we'll see, won't we? We shall see what happens. So far with this COVID-19 thing is that we will see, that everyone's promising, America is going to fall. America will just continue to fall back more and more in terms of relevance. It's that simple. And we will see what happens with Russia and China. I'm not going to fetishize them. I'm just going to say, more than likely, it will be people like them. But they will still use and they still need the United States. They need people like us to point their fingers and say, that's the bad guy. They still need America to be the bad guy. You have to remember that, folks. As with any sort of politics, they always have to have the bad guy that's continuing to be around to justify their existence. It's always what happens. Doesn't matter what field you're talking about, is that you have to justify your existence. If you're an accountant, you have to justify that you are just as efficient as using TurboTax. As a lawyer, you have to be able to justify that you are protecting their firm, or that you are being able to, further the policies, to keep society in check. Oh, excuse me. Okay. If you're a military man, you have to justify, why are you still in? Why are you still here, Sergeant? Why are you still here, Sergeant Major? Why is it that you don't retire? You can make better money on the outside. It's always about creating an opportunity and showing that you are still valuable. Same thing with basketball, same thing with anything else. That was kind of a long rant. I don't know if it went anywhere. Hopefully someone gets some. This is, you know what, I should call this the Food for Thought series. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll title this Food for Thought, and then I'll just make everything subtitle and say blah, 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 blah. But yeah, maybe I'll do it that way. This is the Food for Thought series. Something to think about. Like I say, I do have the books on Janos Kadar, and on Ernst Röhm, the Homo Fascist. So we will be reading a bit of those. I think I'm just going to read them out, and then I'll give you, some of my takes on it. So I'll read it, and then I'll kind of get an idea of it. I think we'll do it that way. So I think later tonight, after I do some more studying and get some more work done, then we'll do some more videos about Mr. Herr Ernst Röhm. Let's do that. I think I'll call it Homer Fashions or something like that. Homer Fashionism or something like that. Anyway, y'all have a good one. See you later.